Welcome to the Committed Lifestyle Podcast, a place created for you, the woman who is ready to step up her game, up-level her mindset, and commit to taking action towards the life, relationships, and financial abundance she desires. My name is Jody.
And I am your co-host, Aspen, and we're serial entrepreneurs passionate about showing women the juicy tips, tricks, and tools to creating a life they love and loving the life they live.
So if you're ready for that, let's dive in. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode on the Committed Lifestyle Podcast. We've got a SoloSode going on today with your host, Jody. That kind of rhymed. I really amaze myself sometimes. That was one of those moments. Yeah, very far and few when it comes to like DJ rapping skills. But hey, I'm going to give myself kudos right there. And I'm going to do a mic drop. All right, let's move on. Okay, so something that's really been coming up for me and something I've really been working on is for me to simplify. It's like the theme of the year for me. And I found myself pushing against it because having a simple life, I couldn't even tell you the last time I would say that I have a very simple life. And just even simple thoughts. I am a person that I love to have all kinds of things going on of things that I love. And I like to try a lot of new things. I like to do a lot of things. Therefore, I really don't have a simple kind of life. And therefore my thoughts follow where I'm a big planner. I like to have things planned out, and some things I don't. And I like to think about, okay, let's prep for this and I need to go that. And got to remember this. Okay, note on that. And it's like 30,000 sticky notes everywhere and 1,500 on my phone. And I don't know who can relate to that, but yes, if you can, this episode is for you. And so what's really been coming up for me that is something that I've really been working on is simplifying my thoughts and not taking on new projects, but instead to only give priority to a few things at a time. It's, I'm not going to lie. I have felt the resistance to want to be like, yes, I want to say yes to that. That sounds awesome. To realizing, nope. How do I want my quality of life to feel? And so that's what I want to talk about with you guys today. So, again, if you've ever felt like you've just been in so much chaos and you just try to take on so many things, then you probably know that it creates a lot of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. And I mean, there's just so many things that it causes. And what it doesn't cause is it doesn't cause a lot of success. And it actually can cause you to be pretty freaking hard to be around. Well, at least for myself. So, I know for me, when I take on too much and I try to put too much on my plate, it creates so much chaos in my mind, even though I try to organize these thoughts. And I've done a pretty good job at learning how to compartmentalize these things. But there's times I find I don't have enough compartments for all the things that I want to put on the shelf. And what it does is it creates chaos in my mind. It hinders my creativity. It definitely takes away from my quality of life because I'm so trying to think about 1,500 different things and fly from thing to thing and circle back around and twirl and whirl and wave my magic wand to try to get things done that I really, I've found myself ending up a lot of times burning the candle at both ends and just feeling really chaotic and for myself, really annoying to be around. There's a lot of times where I'll like hear myself talking about like, oh, I got to do this and oh, I got to do that. And I feel, hang on. I can't have this conversation because I just feel really overwhelmed. I just need a second. Like that's annoying to be around, and that is too much just energy that sucks it out of me, and I can imagine what it does for other people when I'm in that state. So that is not the kind of quality of life that I want. And when I'm not in that place of having too much shit on my plate and having not enough compartments to put everything in, I operate in a much different space. And a prime time example of that is when I go to my hometown. So I'm from, it's we'll call it small, Spokane, Washington. There's, a handful of things to do. It's a little bit more of a simple life. But every single time I go there, my priorities are smaller. It's like high touch on my priorities on just a couple things. I'm very focused on my family. I'm very focused on, making sure that the time that I am working on my business, that I'm hyper focused on it. And the other things that I'm focused on is being present, getting my workouts in, and making sure I got some good food to nourish my body and keep that on point, because that is one of my priorities. And what's funny is so many people, whenever they've seen me or talked to me when I'm in Spokane, they all see the difference. My whole energy changes is because I don't have 5,000 things to sift through in my head that I'm trying to do when I'm here in my normal home, in my normal environment. And so when I realize that that's the way that I want to feel, well, it makes me realize, okay, well, you need to simplify. So that for me, and that for a lot of us, really means adding more to our plate and taking on more tasks does not make us superheroes. That is a spoiler alert. I know for myself, I'm like, yes, I can do it. Yep, I got this. Just give it to me. Because you want to know what they say? If you need to get things done, give it to a busy person. Where I do believe that, but some of us try to be superheroes and do it all because we're probably really multi-talented at a lot of things, which I get it. There's a lot of things that I could do, but I don't need to be the superhero, I've been realizing. And so like I was saying before, it really takes away from our creativity, our ability to be present, creating recognizable success. Oh, guys, that's a big one right there. When we have so many things on our plate, we don't have enough time to give super focused attention to something major that we really want to have success in. And that right there creates self-doubt, and, we start to lose faith in ourselves, but also we take away from our quality of life because we can't be present and the ability to just rest, like maybe meditate. Some people can't even do it because they think that they don't have time. But if they don't have time, that's exactly what they need to be doing. So there's, I know a lot of us, okay, well, you might be saying, well, Jody, you don't know my life. I'm a single mom and I have a full-time job and I have to take care of my kids and I really want to make sure and take care of my health and this, that, and the other thing. Look, I get it. I don't live in your shoes, but I get it when there's a lot of non-negotiables and priorities on your plate. So yes, I know that feeling, and I'm not saying that you need to have, two things you focus on. You are going to have a full plate. But on that full plate is only going to be your main priorities and your non-negotiables. And the problem that arises with most of us is that when the plate transforms from being able to clearly see what's on it to looking like it's shepherd's pie with basically a spoonful of slop and 500 different ingredients, it becomes really hard to identify what's all on your plate because you got so much fucking shit on there. You hear me? Hopefully you're like, okay, yep, I know what you're saying. That's what I've done. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to go back to, you got to simplify. So, all right, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the things that really can create a messy, unorganized mind and life. It's basically trying to be the yes man to everything, trying to make everything a priority, and not going in seasons or not taking one, project at a time, that it's trying to do it all at once and not asking for help. Other things that create a messy, unorganized mind in life is switching constantly from thing to thing. So maybe you got started on something that you're super excited about and you were gung-ho on it. And you know, when you start anything, you're messy in the beginning. You got to learn the ropes. You got to create new time for it. And then if you lose luster, do you want to know what you do? You give up and then you find something new to do. And then you have to restart over again, create new time, learn how to do this whole new thing again, buy more shit, make more time, try to figure it out. It gets really messy. Then it gets hard. And then you keep going through that same cycle where you're not mastering that one thing until you're good at it, right? Because I guarantee you, if you decided you wanted to do something, whether it's get healthy or start a business, you got to stick it out for the long haul. It's not going to be an overnight success. You're not going to have overnight results. You have to become a master by being a disaster first and giving focused, dedicated effort day after day after day, probably after a month, and most likely after year after year after year. So when you constantly are switching from thing to thing, you just create a ton of chaos in your mind and this needing of being like, okay, I need to get clear. I need to get organized, right? It's going to keep happening, which means your mind's going to stay unorganized and your life is going to stay unorganized. And another huge thing that creates a messy, unorganized mind is comparison, trying to be like someone else. Hey, look, I think we're all guilty of this. I would love to say that I'm like, no, I've never compared myself to someone else. Girl, I 100% go down the scroll hole on Instagram. I see the other girls who are maybe, they're crushing it in their business. They're crushing it in their workouts more. They're living somewhere that's like really cool and tropical or whatever. And I'm like, damn, maybe I got to switch things up. Maybe I should switch things up. That way I can be more like that. Okay. That right there goes right back to that switching constantly. Comparison, trying to have someone else's life and not maybe use it as a tool, as a lighthouse of the direction you want to go, but not to switch. You use it as ideas, as inspiration, as motivation of where you want to go, of what you want to create. So those are the things right there that can create messy, unorganized mind and an organized life. So some things you can do to simplify and organize your thoughts and your priorities. 1, don't go down the scroll hole and compare yourself to others. You are not like anyone else. You don't know their story. You don't know their life. You don't know behind the curtains on social media. I'll tell you that right now. You don't know behind my curtains. I don't know behind yours. So don't compare yourself to me because I'm not going to compare myself to you. But what we can do is I'm sure you're a freaking badass chick if you're listening to this, because that's the kind of women that we attract on this podcast is ambitious, motivated, driven women who want more out of their life. So what we can do is we can look at each other's pages and say, ooh, I kind of like that. That's great. Or kudos to her. Or, ooh, oh, that looks like a place I need to put on my list. Or, ooh, I love what she's doing in her fitness. Is there anything I can do to maybe take a little inventory and just pivot a tiny bit? Am I doing okay? Kind of thing, right? So not comparing, but examining what's going on out there, using it as a lighthouse of the direction we want to head for ourselves, and not trying to be like someone else and switch it up and switch it up and switch it up. So that's number 1. Number 2 is taking inventory of everything you do in a day and in a week. And what you're going to do with that inventory is you're going to look at it and you're going to say, okay, what on here can I delegate? What can I dump? And what can I dedicate my time to? So that right there is a hard one. You want to know some of those things that I dumped off of mine? I dumped getting my lashes done anymore. I realized I don't want to spend the money and I don't want to drive a round trip of like 2 hours every, 2-3 weeks for my lashes. I'm totally over it. You want to know some other things that I dumped? I stopped getting my hair done as much. I used to go every 6 weeks. Now I go every 3 to 6 months. Because I'd way rather have a simple life. I'd rather have more time to spend that pouring back into my community, pouring back into my health, pouring into my relationships, pouring into the things that really feel like it makes a difference for when I end up at the end of my life. And I look back and I'm like, oh, you had great hair. Or instead I could be like, God, you had some really great memories. You made a really big impact and you were able to make some really awesome wealth to help more people and create the life that you want and envision for yourself. So those are things that you can do right there. Now, delegating. That means asking for help. Definitely ask for help. I know you can do it, girl. I know you got it. I know you're a superhero. Trust me, I know this already. But it doesn't mean you need to be. It's okay to ask for help. And you know what? Someone might not be able to help you, but you know what? Someone might be able to. Some of the things you're going to have to pay for. Some of the things you can probably ask a friend or a family member or significant other to help you. But you never know unless you ask, unless you find out. And then next thing is dedicate. So find out, what you really want to focus on and what you really want to keep on your plate. And then where does that fit in, right? You got to schedule it in. Is it a daily scheduled in thing or is it a weekly scheduled in thing? It's getting really crystal clear on that so that you can have basically a blueprint of what all you'll be taking on so that way it simplifies your thoughts so you can see from, a bird's eye view what you'll be taking on for the day, the week, the month, the year. And then you can just keep your focus on that. It makes things so much easier, especially when it comes to your creativity and knowing where you can carve out time for people and, the things that move the needle forward for you and whatever your goals are. And so, but it's committing to do that. And so that's thing number 2 that you can do. And I think I had thing number 3, but right now I don't remember. But here's what I'll tell you what you could do. Commit. Decide what it is that you want. Take the inventory. Dump, delegate, dedicate. Wow. I don't think that was 3 words at all that I just said right there. Let me rewind. Dump, delegate. Oh, I still got it wrong. Dump, delegate, and dedicate. Do that. Get that done. Task it off. And before you take on any new projects, finish the project you're on. Make it to the finish line. And then you'll have new freed up time. Then you can take on a new thing. That was another thing that's what I wanted to say. So hopefully those little takeaways right there help you with how to simplify and organize your thoughts so that you can simplify and organize your mind and your priorities. And you guys, I really hope that helps because I know a lot of us are very resistant to wanting to have a simple life, but a lot of us might really be feeling like that in this time that we're in, we can really simplify things and it feels really good to be able to simplify things. I know for myself, it has. And in the last couple weeks, getting crystal clear with what that simplicity looks like. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. It's so nice in my head. It feels like I can see through there, like it's like glass windows that have just recently been Windexed instead of foggy mirrors, smoke, and I don't know. I can't think of a good analogy, probably because it's getting late at night and I know that I've got protein ice cream in the freezer waiting for me. So yeah, I'm going to go get back to that. Okay. I hope that this episode really helped you guys. If you got any value from this, let me know. Tag me in your stories and let me know what your biggest takeaway was. And if there's someone that you think would love this and needs to hear this, share it with them. It would mean the world to me. And you guys, just remember, you only have one life to live. And it is your job to make it amazing, which means make that quality of life worth living. Be present. Love what you're doing. Simplify, simplify, simplify so that you can enjoy everything that is happening around you. All right, you guys, I love you so much. Have an amazing day. And until next time, much love to you.